But there are several observations that seem to contradict the idea of karma. Let's look at few of them. One, of course, is the well-known question: why do bad people flourish? We may see some people doing wrong, and we may say that there are underworld dons and there are corrupt politicians and there are all different kinds of people. They seem to be living in prosperity with nothing touching them. So here we need to recognize a principle of accumulation of karma. So here, as you see, that some people may become wealthy, but karma acts through accumulation. That means, say, in the olden times, and to some extent even today, farmers would store their grains in silos. Silos with long vertical containers in which they would put the grains from top, and that's where they would preserve, and they'd taken out from below. So, if a farmer in different years sows different grains, say in 3 years, the farmer is sowing grains of 3 different qualities: A, B, and C. A is high quality, B is medium quality, C is poor quality. And now all these 3 years of grains are stored in the silo. So from the top, we will see that in that grain container, C grade grains are being stored. Relatively low grade grains are stored. But when the grains are taken out from below, what is coming out? A grade. Why? Because A grade were put earlier. So, just as what the grains are put, now they will come out. But they may come out later. So like that, karma is not about instant action-reaction. It is about cumulative action-reaction. And that's why some people who may have done good in the past, either in this or previous lives, they have got a stockpile of good karma now. And because of which they seem to live in prosperity even when they are doing bad, even when they are putting in low quality grains, but still they are getting out high quality grains. But the important point is that their high quality grains are going to get over and their low quality grains are going to come eventually to them. Same with those who seem to be doing good and getting bad. It's like they may have put in bad quality grains in the past, but if they're putting in good quality grains, those good quality grains will also come out. The bad quality grains will also get exhausted. So it's simply a matter of time lag. It's not a matter of falsification, but it is a matter of delay. Now that raises the next question. Karma gets stored in silos, as I said. Good karma, bad karma. So now, this brings obviously the next question. Now, why do we suffer now for the actions of previous lives? And wouldn't things be much easier to figure out if we got reactions immediately? At one level, we could say that, but we see that even in nature, things don't work instantaneously. If we look at seeds, different seeds fructify after different time durations. If we sow grains, we can harvest them after 3-4 months. If we sow fruit trees, that sometimes it may take 5 years, sometimes 10 years. Some trees may even take 50 years. Sometimes parents or grandparents sow the seeds and then grandchildren get the fruits. So in nature, just as we see different seeds fructify after different durations, every karma that we do is like a seed that we sow. And the seed that we sow fructifies after different time durations. So that's why sometimes a person may sow a seed in a previous life and get reaction in this life. Or a person may sow a seed in this life and get reaction in next life. And this delayed reaction is not just a matter of philosophical belief. It's also a matter of, say, medical observation. As I said, if a child puts a hand in fire, the reaction comes immediately. But if, say, on a cold winter night, somebody eats 10 ice creams, then at that time the person may feel I'm enjoying, but the next morning, I'll be screaming. So what has happened? There the reaction has come after 6 months, after 6 hours, 6, 7 hours. Or suppose somebody calls the doctor early morning and says, "Doctor, I got a stomach upset." Probably the first question the doctor will ask is, "What did you eat last night?" So what it means is that when we ate, the reaction doesn't come immediately. It may come after 6 hours, 8 hours. Or say, a young person, a middle-aged person, say they are 35, 40, goes to a doctor and a chest specialist. And the doctor says, "You got lung cancer." Doctor will ask, "At what age did you start smoking?" And he says, "I started at the age of 17. There the reaction came after 20 years. So even in day-to-day life we see, not just in terms of seeds in nature, but even in terms of our own actions, in terms of how the reactions appear in the body, different actions produce reactions after different time durations. The same principle now, karma, extends it to not just a few years, but to be before this life and beyond this life. Now, that further may raise the question, why such extension? Now, why couldn't even if reactions are delayed, why can't the delayed reactions come within the same lifetime? So there is a story in the associated with the Mahabharata, which provides the answer to this. So, in the Mahabharata, most of you are aware of the basic storyline of the Mahabharata? Okay. So, in the Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra is like the passive villain, and Duryodhana is the active villain. So, Duryodhana is evil, and Dhritarashtra sanctions his evil. And Dhritarashtra has 100 sons who are the Kauravas, and they are killed in the climactic battle at Kurukshetra. So, after that battle, when Krishna meets Dhritarashtra, at that time Dhritarashtra asks, "I had 100 sons, and all of them were killed. Why couldn't even one son have been spared? Why did all of them have to die?" So Krishna told him that 50 lifetimes ago, you were a hunter. And as a hunter, you went to hunt some birds. But the birds escaped. And in a fit of rage, you saw that there were birdlets, were nests. And there were 100 birdlets. And you slaughtered all of them. And there, the parent birds, they had to watch in helpless agony while you slaughtered their 100 birdlets. And that is why you had to watch in helpless agony as your 100 sons were killed. And Dhritarashtra became pensive. And then he asked, "Okay, if it's a reaction for my own deed, then why did it have to come after 50 lifetimes?" So Krishna said that, for you to get 100 sons in one lifetime, you had to do punya for 50 lifetimes. So after you did the punya for 50 lifetimes, then the reaction to that came to you. So Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita, Gahana karmano gatihi in 4.17. Karmano yapi bodhavyam cha vikarmana akarmanascha bodhavyam. Gahana karmano gatihi. The reaction to actions, how it comes, the progression of karma is subtle, it's complex, it's difficult to understand. Why? Because when we talk in terms of reactions, we should not have we should have a very simplistic understanding that this action will produce this reaction. Because the purpose of karma is not punishment. It is rectification. It is to prompt us towards making healthy choices. Rectification. That means sometimes one action may be so bad that its reaction may come as multiple problems over a long period. Or sometimes one reaction might be a reaction for multiple actions. So although every action will produce a reaction, but the way the reaction will manifest can vary from person to person and situation to situation. That's why the important point when it comes to karma is not the specific causes, but the general principle. If we try to go into specific causes, it is like, suppose somebody gets malaria and the patient, instead of taking malaria treatment, tells the doctor, first I want to find out the mosquito which bit me. That's impossible. Okay, we understand the cause. Generically, okay, mosquito bite is there. In the future, I'll take care that I'll make sure that I don't get bitten by mosquitoes. I'll use nets or whatever. But now I have to take treatment. So finding specific causes is difficult. But if we understand a general principle, that can help us to make healthier choices. So with respect to karma, as I said, karma, there are certain doubts, and if you have certain further questions, we can discuss. But the important logic of karma and the main doubts about karma I have discussed. Now I'll briefly talk about reincarnation. Before we go to reincarnation, what is this? W. Somerset Maugham was a British playwright, and he was quite influenced by the Vedic literature, by Indian wisdom. And he said in one of his books that if the evils we suffer are the results of sins committed in our past lives, we can bear them with resignation and hope that if in this one we strive towards virtue, our future lives will be less afflicted. So it's an empowering worldview, because ultimately it's not that things are happening by chance. If I make right choices, I will be creating a brighter future for myself, no matter how bleak my present might seem to be.